Okay, welcome to this video on feudalism, keeping people in their place. For a warm-up question, let's answer these two. What happens when basic needs are not being met? And what do you do to meet those basic needs? Take a couple seconds to answer this. When you think about it, when basic needs aren't being met, you can't meet any higher level needs. So if you're just trying to find food to eat, you're not going to be very concerned about education and friends and things of that nature. You're more concerned with just making sure that you don't die. So what do people do to meet those basic needs? Well, I think that you could consider that people probably do things that maybe they wouldn't do otherwise. Maybe people do things illegal. Maybe they steal. Maybe they even kill. Think about the Hunger Games. What would people do to survive? So something interesting to think about, and that's the state that we're going to be looking at here in Europe following the fall of Rome. For our target today, I can explain what feudalism is and how it negatively affected Europe. And in case you're wondering, yes, that is Super Wilson. Don't worry, he'll be back again. Okay, quick recap here. The Roman Empire rules much of Europe. Very organized in its heyday, and it protected its citizens quite a bit. But then slowly it starts to fall apart. The organization leaves, and chaos comes over Europe. And people are really stuck in a bad situation. What are they going to do? Well, what happens is, when people are jobless, homeless, and unprotected, they get kind of desperate, and they fall in line with the wealthy. And they basically agree to work the land of the wealthy in order to get protection. What we end up having here is a feudal society. It is a social structure, so people are in set social classes. And power just all comes from those who have land and wealth, because that is what gave them power. So the power comes from the top down. What we're going to do is generalize this into three different levels. We have our royalty with our kings. We have our nobility, and then we have our serfs that are at the very bottom. They're peasants. They're the poor people living in Europe. And really, this is where the mass majority of the people are in Europe at this point in time in history. So feudalism. Here's our little diagram. We have the royal family giving land and power to nobles. These are people who have some power that are wealthy in their own rights, but they're still giving their allegiance to the royal family. And in turn, what they do is they give protection and homes to serfs, with the expectation that these serfs will work the land and serve in the army to serve the nobles, who are then serving the royal family. Kind of complicated, but I think it's something that we can understand with a simple diagram here. At the top of the food chain is our royal family, then we have our nobles, and then we have our serfs. So we have all of these serfs working together, and this is what gives them strength, is the fact that they all are under one royal family, really. So if somebody comes to attack them, who's going to be the army? You got it, the serfs. So in this situation, what we have is the serfs that are doing all of the bad, difficult grunt work, basically. They are the army, they are the farmers, they're the people that work all day and get terrible conditions, minimal food, and everything else. But is that better than not having protection? Yeah, it is. So when we really connect this back to Maslow from yesterday, it's kind of clear to see that even though these people are stuck in pretty bad living conditions, they're still going to be willing to do it. Now, to make sure that you understood all the ideas from this mini video here, these are three questions that I want you to consider. Number one, can you identify and explain the three basic levels of a feudal society? So can you explain how they worked, who was at each level? Do you understand why serfs would have agreed to be in the position that they were, serving as farmer slash soldier slash everything else that was pretty bad? And three, can you connect this back to why the fall of Rome was so bad for so many people in Europe? I mean, think about it. We talked about how Rome provided a lot of things, but then it's gone, and people will actually agree to something that's far worse than what they previously had. That might tell you something about their other options. So make sure you have these key ideas down and you come to class ready to discuss, because tomorrow we're going to make the class much more activity-based so that we can go through some cool ideas and get to a deeper understanding of why feudalism was such a problem, not only for the people living in it, but really for history in the world as a whole.